So these are my 5 top tips for building muscle. If you can get these 5 things in place, you will have no issue at all. The main thing after there is literally just staying consistent. First off, how do our muscles grow? We're going to look at this from a resistance training aspect just to make things easier. So basically we create micro tears in the muscle, then the muscle goes through a process of repairing or replacing damaged muscle fibers. Basically it fuses muscle fibers together to form new muscle protein strands, which then leads to muscle hypertrophy, which means growth. First off, protein. Protein is the building blocks for the muscle. It's an essential macronutrient that will help maintain and repair muscle tissue. When you train, your goal is to create little micro tears in your muscle, not bad tears, like is a good thing. You then recover from that training stimulus, repairing the muscle tissue using amino acids, which is obviously what protein is made up from, and then this will lead to you increasing your muscle size. So that's why protein is such an essential nutrient when it comes to progress and building muscle or maintaining it. Aim for around 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of body fat. If you weigh over 200 pounds, don't go over 200 grams. It won't be necessary unless you are a very lean individual. This will easily be enough to cover you throughout this process due to the amount of amino acids that will actually be available for you to recover. I would recommend splitting this up throughout the day and not just having like high amounts of protein in one go. Although sometimes some people can't avoid that. If possible, do try to split up a little bit. Personally, I found this has massively helped with my progress, mostly due to the digestion side of things. And obviously if you can digest it better, the likelihood is you're going to absorb it better. Number 2 is mechanical tension and form. Making sure that you're controlling the weight and actually targeting the muscle that you're trying to stimulate will lead to much better results, because obviously that means that we're isolating the muscle and that then we're going to break down, tear the muscle tissue, and then it can recover and grow. When doing most exercises, you will find that other muscles will help you play a role in moving that weight. So just as an example, if you're doing a dumbbell press, your shoulders, your triceps, these muscles are obviously going to play a role. Also, other muscles are going to be working to create stability. Problem is, if you go too heavy, these other muscles start to play more of a bigger role. And also what this can do is throw your form completely out, meaning that you're unlikely to stimulate the muscle that you're trying to stimulate and almost spread the load. This is why selecting the right weight and controlling your form, keeping that muscle under tension, can lead to much better results, because it's going to lead to you recruiting more muscle fibers within that given muscle and not just spreading the load and chasing numbers. Number 3 is volume. Volume is the amount of load work that's done within a session. I like to break this down into exercises or muscle groups individually. For me, it makes it easier to understand, but also it allows me to actually gauge my progress slightly better, because I'm not just focusing on load of overall workout. Although that definitely does help and it does play a role, I just find breaking it down makes it easier for me. So why is this important? So consistently accumulating the right amount of volume will allow you to build or maintain your current muscle mass. Meaning that if you're applying enough load through your body or through that muscle, you're more likely to create enough of a stimulus to either maintain your current muscle or, like I mentioned, break down the muscle fibers and allow them to recover so that you can grow and build more muscle. If you're constantly changing the volume or changing exercises, it can be quite difficult to progress, or at least gauge where you can progress or how to increase your volume, because you're constantly moving it around. For example, if you're doing 3 sets of 10 on a leg press at 100 kilo 1 week, and then next you do 2 sets of 8 reps on 80 kilo, your body won't have the need to recruit as many or the same amount of muscle fibers that it was using the week before. This is obviously extremely simplified, but some people do use these principles for deloads and stuff like that, but that shouldn't be something that you need to be doing on a very regular basis. In fact, if you do actually set your training up quite well, deloads are kind of non-existent, more like a lifestyle thing, where like say you go on holiday for a week or you've just had a very stressful week, you just don't go as hard. But if you are training extremely hard and you do find you need these on a regular basis, it's probably a good idea to kind of pull that back a little bit, because obviously if you can't consistently apply the same amount of volume or increase the volume, and you're constantly implementing deload weeks, or you're not able to actually achieve the workouts that you're setting yourself, your volume isn't going to be consistent, which means it can be quite difficult to progress with, meaning that your overall weekly volume can get reduced or constantly be moving around. Now obviously some workouts dependent, I've had clients where they've been in the gym, they've had to leave, stuff like that sort of thing, like you just got to accept it, that's part of life. But overall, if you can control these variables, volume is one of the most important factors, because it is the amount of load or work done by a muscle, which means that if you are able to manage this whilst progressing it, you're then going to be tearing down the muscle fibers and putting you in a much better position to progress with consistently over a period of time. Number 4, training frequency. A great way to achieve consistent volume is to be aware of how frequently you're training a muscle. If you're doing like 6 sets of 10 reps on 100 kilo on a leg press within one workout, what you'll find is that you'll probably be better to actually split that into 2 workouts and actually do 3 sets of 10 on 100 kilo twice a week. This means it will actually put you in a better position to increase the load throughout the sessions due to the fact that you're more likely to be able to recover from it as well. You could find within a short period, within them 6 sets, you could end up going up to like 110 kilos for 10 reps throughout all 6 of them, rather than if you was doing them all in one session. It'll be quite difficult to actually increase the weight and then achieve that amount of volume within that one exercise on that day, due to the fact that fatigue will build up throughout that exercise. Now obviously this is a very simplified version, but as you can see just from that example, if you was doing 6 sets on that one exercise, the likelihood of you increasing the volume on a regular basis by the amount that would be necessary would be very difficult, whereas if you was to separate that into 2 workouts, you're in a position where you can achieve more volume. This can go across the board for any exercise, whether you're just implementing a few extra sets on the end of one workout on a weak point or something like that. It will allow you to achieve more volume, and obviously that is one of the key components when it comes to building muscle, and something I see a lot of people misunderstanding or not actually paying attention to. For me, this is probably one of the most noticeable factors. When I started implementing more frequency within my week, it allowed my body to change a lot faster, meaning that some weeks I actually train a certain muscle group or a certain exercise 2 to 4 times, depending on the type of workout program I'm doing. So if I am doing full body, there's a chance that it could be 3-4 times a week, or if I'm doing upper, lower, or push-pull legs, I'm actually making sure that I'm doing this at least twice a week, because for me, I found it manages my fatigue, allows me to progress, but also I enjoy my training a lot more this way. Number 5, rest. Recovery. This is obviously when your body repairs, and this actually leads to growth. It's about breaking down the muscle and making sure that you're able to recover from it so that you're in a position to recruit more muscle fibers, build more muscle, and get stronger. Rest and recovery is such an important component. One of the things that so frequently overlooked, because we all just want to push and keep smashing it. But obviously with this, I'm also including nutrition, so it's not just about rest days or active rest days, we're also talking about nutrition as well. These 2 components play a huge role in your ability to build muscle and should not be overlooked. Personally, I learned this a lot through like a trial and error principle, where I was often pushing myself far too much, building up too much fatigue, and not actually allowing my body to recover. What this meant was that I was pushing my sessions, thinking I was doing more, feeling like I was having a good workout and all that sort of stuff, but actually my goal was to progress during that period, and I wasn't able to progress due to the fact that I wasn't actually resting, allowing my muscles to recover, which also meant that I didn't really see much progress. And sometimes for some people this can actually mean they lose muscle because they're not allowing their body to rest and recover, and they're just breaking down their muscle fibers, but not actually allowing them to recover and rebuild. Like I say, this is not only about the growing side of things, it's also down to you reducing fatigue and giving yourself enough energy to be able to push your following sessions and achieve progress within them workouts. I've had many clients achieve incredible results on 2 to 4 workouts a week. I actually had one client get ready for a photo shoot off the back of 2 sessions a week, and he managed to build muscle and get in incredible shape. A lot of this over the desired amount of sessions that they actually said to me at first, where it was like, I want to train 5 to 7 times a week. Once I explain to clients, depending on their skill level, where they're at, to actually pull that back, they actually see results a lot faster. Overall, these 5 principles can help increase your likelihood of progress by a lot. I've obviously outlined these principles quite lightly, but use what I've said and try and implement it into your own training, because like I say, a lot of these factors are things that I've realized myself within my own training over the years. Through many a trial and error, I've done training 7 days a week, I've done training twice a day, I've done absolutely everything that you could think of, and for me, I've managed to actually accumulate some sort of understanding through trying all these different approaches. Now obviously if you want to try them yourselves, do it, but be aware of the principles that I've outlined within this, because obviously if your goal is to build a certain amount of muscle mass, or you just want to get yourself into shape, if you can follow these principles, you will see much more progress than what you probably would if you ignore them. Being aware is probably one of the biggest things that I've learned. It's not even down to the minute detail, it's just being aware and understanding and making adjustments when necessary. Also, what I've found is that I'm actually able to manage this around my life. Got a very busy lifestyle, family, work, all that sort of stuff. So beforehand, I probably would have been stressing about how many times I'm training, whereas now I can actually get by on 3 sessions a week, managing my physique, looking how I want to look, feeling how I want to feel, managing fatigue, which is probably the biggest factor, because it's not only your training that creates stress, it's also external factors as well. And if you can't manage these, you will struggle to progress. This has obviously helped me to manage my fatigue and push my sessions harder. So when I'm training 3 times a week, them sessions are incredibly difficult. Pushing myself, really implementing what I'm going over here, doing full body workouts 3 times a week allows me to get the frequency. I train with good form for the mechanical tension. My nutrition's good, so I'm obviously getting enough protein in. I'm achieving the volume because I've set out my workout how it should be beforehand, making sure that I'm fully aware of what I'm achieving. I'll make sure I log all of my weights in my app and all of these things. And then because I'm training 3 times a week, plenty of opportunity to rest and recover and go again. So I hope this helps. Like I say, these principles are a rough outline, just be aware of it. Don't overcomplicate it, but be aware.